and wellness. Let's welcome school nutrition specialist Patricia Thompson to share more. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you and to talk a little bit about this because it's very, very important, especially with regards to early childhood education.
Indeed.
Now, I know March 9 was the day it was recognized for school feeding.
Right.
Right. So talk to us now, before we get into the conference, I want to understand a little bit more about how important is nutrition. Yeah.
Well, for years, you know, Jamaica has provided food for children in school. And the whole idea then was really just to give the children something to hold them so that they are not too hungry. Absolutely. And that they can learn.
Yeah.
And research has been showing more and more that the children learn better, indeed, when they have especially breakfast in the morning for mathematics. And, you know, we have a problem with that. And they also show better behavior, better attitude towards learning.
So it impacts the mood.
It impacts the mood, less aggressiveness towards each other, and so on. So more attention has been placed on adding nutrition to the food. Now, this is not to say that what we had before didn't have nutrition, because
Absolutely.
they ensure that it had some iron and calcium and so on. But the other aspect of it is that children are now moving away from traditional patterns and what we know as food. And it impacts our agriculture as well.
Yes.
So that's the other aspect to it. So by adding nutrition now, the other aspect that came up recently was the health aspect. That children have now moved from being underweight to now being overweight and obese. And that forms the foundation for chronic diseases later in life. So that is diabetes and high blood pressure. And the Ministry of Health has gotten very concerned about
Absolutely,
this.
Yes.
So it's not just to give children food and to eat, but to ensure that it meets their nutritional requirements.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Both quantity and quality.
Yes.
And so we are now at the stage where we want to add nutrition to school feeding.
Yeah, and so you're meekly awaiting the National School Nutrition Policy to be approved and implemented by the government through the Ministry of Education and Youth.
Indeed, because this is the starting point.
Yes.
That was recognized many, many years ago, that you have to have a concerted agreement that this is the direction in which you want to go. And the problem is we have, since subsequent governments, we have not had anyone to place emphasis on nutrition. It's used often as just tokenism to say, well, this is what we're doing for the children. But nobody has really gotten committed to say, well, this is going to be policy, irrespective of which government is in power.
Absolutely.
Right. So we are waiting on that now for the longest while. Yeah. And I'm very disappointed that up to now I haven't heard anything in the budget speech, because this is going to cost. It's an investment. Yeah. We have to think of it as investment, return on investment. It has also shown that these are the children that are going to provide the workforce for the development, you know, of Jamaica.
Yes, indeed.
So, you know, we have to ensure that we make that investment now and keep making it. Other countries that are developed have made this investment in nutrition, and they see the end result of it.
And talking about that now, the 15th is a big day.
Yes.
Talk to us about what will happen. What's on the agenda, the topics, the speakers, you name it.
Right. Well, our focus is going to be mental health, because that is very broad.
Critical, yes.
Right. And wellness.
Yeah.
So we call it Shaping Young Minds with Nutrition, with a focus on mental health and wellness. And we have speakers from all sectors. We start out trying to get a better understanding of mental health by psychologist Sharon Jackson.
Yes.
And then we move into our diaspora speaker, Dr. Alan Jackson, who is from Southampton University in England. And he worked here years ago at the University of the West Indies, went away, and he's now on the UN committee for School Meals Coalition. Right. So he's going to take us into why the investment is very important. Then we will present in sections, a section on research to show what we have done locally, And it shows that although that we are concerned about obesity, we cannot forget that especially since COVID and food insecurity, children are still undernourished. So we have what we call a double burden of disease.
Yes.
And we have to make sure that all, that we have athletes who have their nutritional needs to be met in schools, and the research is going to be presented.
Absolutely.
Right. Then we have the interventions. And under the interventions, I'll be presenting on what the FAO calls a nutrition-friendly school. It is not just the environment, in other words, let's keep sugar out of schools. It is the whole standards of the meals, because the actual cooking of the meals is a major problem.
And our attitude towards preparing it as well.
Yes, and the attitude towards preparing it. So we have to look at the total picture of the nutrition-friendly school. The curriculum has to change, and it has changed, and is being offered now even from basic school.
Nice. Right
through. So children will get conscious and aware that this is very important to their well-being. And then the third session, we're going to have a panel of stakeholders, and this will include the youth advocates, the parents through the National PT Association, and Mr. Stuart Jacobs, who is the president, will be leading that. We are including the business sector through the GMA, because there has been controversy about the role that they play, and they are quite conscious of what needs to be done,
yes.
and are just in the process now of putting in their strategies. And we have the food scientists in terms of the processed foods, and to show which ones and why and so on and wherefore. And then we have the nutrition practitioner, because we don't have these persons in school. We have the nurses and the guidance counselors, but we have never had a nutrition practitioner. And this again is going to take some investment, because unless you have the proper advice on the ground, you will not get a comprehensive coordinative approach of all the various stakeholders, which are quite numerous.
Yes. Is there a cost to attend?
Yes, it's $3,500 generally, but of course we have discounts for students and the education sector especially. So they will then call nutritionjamaica@gmail.com, or they can go up on the website www.jamaicanutrition.com, and the information is there for registration and so on. And I especially want to thank our sponsors, the National Baking Company, our gold sponsor, Vicinco, through their brand water. So we are promoting more drinking of water, and True Shake. And then we have the Gore Foundation, which is doing enormous work in the early childhood sector. Very great work, and we work with them.
So once again, where, time?
At the Pegasus Hotel. We open up at 8 for registration for those persons who didn't get to register online, but we encourage the online, and then some entertainment and so on at 8:15, and the actual presentation, the technical, starts at 8:30.
All right, thank you so much, Big Business, and it's very important on the agenda this Wednesday. Come on out and be a part of this whole discussion and see how, your children can benefit from all of this. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Now,